This is going to be a problem. Hi, everybody. So you just saw what basically not to do. What I wanted to jeez. I realized right off the bat when I did the center circle that I had a little bit too much glass. It was more than I wanted. Because when you're making a hollow bead, you really want a perfect even cross section of glass in your hollow bead. And those thicker areas are the areas that will and can be the culprit that touches your rod on the inside, like this first one, like that one that we did. Okay, so here it is on the mandrel, and it absolutely touched. You can see that I can't get, there's nothing happening in here. Anyway, enough of this bead. Okay, first I think I just need to get myself in the right mindset. And when I do that, I listen to the Dark Tower series. I'm on the last episode here. All right, let's get started. And what we're basically going to do here is add 2 discs that are about half an inch apart, maybe a little hair more than half an inch. And you want to make sure that each bead is set before you begin. And then what we're going to do is add 3 wraps of glass on each side. Just go back and forth, because the last wrap will help to keep the wrap underneath it warm. And then get one of the discs warm, just a little warm, and push it slightly on the side of your marver. And I add 2 wraps of glass on the side that usually tends to shell out first, or round out. And then what I'm doing here is just trying to slowly roll it together. And I'm a little sloppy at this, but I'm adding my last couple of discs here, and then I'm going to push the hotter side towards the cooler side. Be careful doing that, don't lose the bead release. And now I'm just going to roll it so I can show you how I would clean that up and close it. Okay, this happens pretty quick, but hopefully you can see there's areas where there are gaps. And I just add like a wrap, a slight wrap, not a full wrap, but a wrap of glass around one edge of the open area, and then I wrap the other edge with the open area. And anywhere else that I see a hole, I will add a little tiny bit of glass too, a very small amount, and then just heat it up. But keep things moving back and forth. You want even heat on the sides and all around, or you'll come out with a shape that's not perfectly round. And then when you have that, let it cool down and add whatever pattern and whatever design you want. You just want to make sure that you keep heating up that glass bead more often than not. But because you're also adding hot glass to it, as I am doing here, if you want to continue, then just be aware that what you're laying down will heat the glass around it, but it won't necessarily heat the very edges. So I like to add little dots on the edges, and you see how I just heat them up when I'm finished. and that will help to keep the side of your bead warm. So really, it's all about even heating. I'm going to heat all that in, and then I'm going to start my pattern that is textured, basically. I'm not going to melt these dots down all the way. I'll keep them raised up a little bit. It'll look cool. And this is just a transparent violet that I'm using, adding just dots. We're just going to add dots on dots. Make it simple this time. Sometimes simple is the best. And every time I add my dots, I always give it a nice overall fresh heat, making sure that the dots don't overmelt. And after I do a row of dots, you notice I heat every time. And that also transfers the heat down into the bead, so you don't have to worry about is the bead itself getting too cool. And there we have it, I think. Oh, a couple more. You know, I just add a couple more. I do. I turn my book on, I get into the zone, and then this is what happens when I zone out. So I'm really happy that I was able to show you this, this bead. I think it came out pretty good. There is an afterwards of me talking about how I make my beads after this part of the video. So if you want to stick around for that, that's awesome. If not, just good luck, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. I just want to throw in a quick note here about how to get all the bead release out of your hollow beads. And all I can say is use a toothpick and try to keep blowing it out. At some point, it will get dry enough to where you can really crush those little tiny pieces, and they will eventually fall out of the other side. And then if you need to rinse the bead out after that, you can. Let me grab a fresh mandrel. Sorry about the noise. Here's my fresh mandrel. So basically what I'm doing with the glass is, you know, sorry. Stop it. Come on. Here's my mandrel. Okay, this is ridiculous. Okay, so let me see if I can do this without touching the wire. Anyway, so I add this little bit of glass here, and then I heat it up pretty well to make sure it's secure. Once I have this settled in, I immediately come over here, and I don't want this bead to be huge, because if you put a line way out here, then you have a massive amount. Okay, and you want that bead to be round, it's gonna be huge. Try to start out and make it as small as possible, and it usually ends up bigger than you think. So I come over like maybe in ½ an inch to start out with. Maybe right here is good, yes. And my method, we all have different methods of doing this, and I have seen people make these so perfect it makes me sick, but you know, I'm a little sloppy on it, but I can still do it and be shaky and sloppy and do it. So I kind of figure if I can do it, so can you, right? And so I like to build up both sides like 3 or 4 discs wide. And what I always notice is that the disc tends to become more curved as I build it up. And that's why I go ahead and flip my mandrel over. Gosh, really? Oh my God. Let's try to get through this quicker. And then I turn my mandrel around, and that allows me to add glass to this side, which I naturally, you know, start to curve over. And that's when I use my little marvering pad here and the side of it just to kind of push things together. Sometimes you can just push them together, and that's like really nice, because then you don't have to do the final center zipper it up, which I usually have to do, because once I get everything ready to go, my lines are never straight. You can see the edges of them are not perfect. And then you start heating it up, and of course wherever the heat is where the glass wants to go. So if you just heat in the center, you'll get a thicker equator. Basically what I'm saying here is the glass wants to go where it's hottest. You can actually leave these marks from the Sharpie on here. They will disappear once it gets hot, but at least you'll be able to see kind of like an after image of where your glass should go. So I hope that helps, and we will see you next time on the Lampworking 101 series. Thanks so much for watching, and see you soon. Take care.